Hello everyone. So let us continue our Jira interview question series. Now in this video, I will present a situation, right? And this is related to Jira service management or Jira service desk. Let us use the word Jira service management. Now, if you are in an interview and if you are asked this question, then hopefully this video will help you because it's a very common thing. Now, the question could be that you need to add a person to a Jira service management based project. So you might receive a ticket from your users that we have a new team member who has just joined in, and we want to make that person as an agent, right? Now, if you are new to Jira or if you're new to Jira Service Management, the way it works is that you need to have license for the agents, and agent is someone who would work on the tickets that are raised by customers. Of course, it could be internal customers, it could be external customers. So basically these agents, they have permissions or rights to add a comment for the customers to see. They can transition the issues, and they have access to all the Jira service management based functionalities. Now, whenever a new person joins a company, or maybe that person has to now, maybe the requirement is that anyone who has to be added to a particular JSM project, you need to do something. Now, there are a few things that you can do to, give that person right to act as an agent. Now, you can of course think about it. You can pause the video and then you can listen to this or watch this video. I'll of course not show you something because when you're talking to someone, when you're trying to interview someone, of course, even by simply asking them this question, you can figure out if they know it or not. Now, the way it works is usually the project admins, they have the right, they always have the right to add more people to their project roles. So let us say there is a new team member who has just joined a company. They, of course, number one, need to be provisioned in Jira. So that is, of course, a requirement. So that person should be in Jira. Now, if that person is in Jira, it doesn't really mean that that person can do each and everything in all the projects. It also depends on which user group, which group you add that person to. So your project admin will say that, okay, I have added this person to my service desk team role. So yes, there is a role called service desk team, and this role is based on, of course, the permission schemes. This role will usually have the permission to act as an agent. Now, just by adding someone to this role is not enough. You also need to ensure that whenever there is a new Jira user who has to be added as an agent, that person should also be added to a group which is mapped to JSM license. So when you go to your application, your Jira application section, it is a bit different on cloud as compared to data center. On data center, it is the first tab in the Jira admin section. You will see that if you have JSM installed along with Jira software, or now Jira, of course, on cloud, you will see that, okay, for Jira service management, these all groups are assigned this license. So if, let us say, you have a group called as Jira Service Desk or Jira Service Management or whatever, if that group is added in the application access section for JSM, then that person can potentially be added to a project. So if you add anyone to that particular group, then that particular group users or all the users in that group will contribute towards the license, your JSM license. So that is number one. So number one is the person should be in Jira, like they should have an active account in Jira. Number two, they should be added to a group which is assigned to or mapped to this JSM license or application. And then number 3, based on, of course, individual JSM project permissions, that person should also be added to that particular project role. So basically, this is something that you should ideally do. And of course, depending upon how your Jira is configured, maybe you have a Jira configuration where in your project permissions for JSM projects, by default, anyone who is part of this group is added to the project, which is of course not really recommended, because even if that person has a license, active JSM license, you should ideally add that person to the relevant project, because that person may or may not be doing something on other projects, other JSM projects. And usually when you have JSM, you have multiple tiles. And when you have multiple tiles, those multiple tiles are of course mapped to individual projects in Jira. So usually you would have different people responsible for different JSM based projects in your Jira service management. And when it comes to Jira service management, of course, you need to also check how that person will act on different tickets. So that is of course a separate discussion, but to keep things very simple, you can of course have a queue, and queue is something that you anyways have in Jira service management. So let us say if you have a process for service request, so you can have a service request and then you can have further sub queues. There is no sub queue, but you can actually have like more than one queue with some indication in the prefix. Like you can have this symbol which is like an arrow pointing on the right hand side from up to right. So you can in a way make it look like a sub queue, which is not really the reality. But when you have these sub queues, you can then on data center, by the way, you can actually then have some logic, maybe using automation, that if there is a ticket where there is a component selected, maybe assign it to this person, right? So basically you can have further assignment based on these things. You can also, on Jira Data Center, of course, you can have proper scripts to do it smartly based on some logic, because you have that capability. And you can also do these things on Jira Cloud anyways. On Jira Cloud using automation, and I think if you go to my channel, if you go to my Jira Cloud automation playlist, I have covered these things in detail. I have actually shown you how to create these rules. But in an interview, you might be asked this question: why your project admin is complaining about a specific user not being available in the assignee list, right? So basically there is a permission called assignable user in any project in Jira. But of course, when we talk about Jira service management, you also have to check not always, but usually you also have to ensure that that person is also added to the role, because that is how people configure their JSM projects. And yeah, that is it. That is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.